Wow, what a win. A huge win on a day where everything was happening in the league. So let's just start with the obvious. It was trade deadline day today. We had made a few deals already, but we decided to make a few more, and one that I wasn't even expecting. I don't think, there were some rumblings. There were some possible thoughts. I didn't expect this to happen. I was maybe like 90% confident that this deal would not have taken place. But lo and behold, Billy G works his magic, and we now have Marc-Andre Fleury as a member of the Minnesota Wild. It is incredible because as soon as you saw the video that the Wild posted on Instagram of him just taking the flight straight from Chicago to Minnesota, he looked so much better. He actually had the smile in. He was looking like he finally got out of prison. He did not want to be in Chicago, and Hawks fans knew that. Hawks fans really treated him with respect, treated him with all the good stuff that he deserves. But now he is a wildflower, if you want to take some puns that way. So the actual trade itself was Minnesota gets Marc-Andre Fleury with 50% salary retained by Chicago. In Chicago's defense, they get a 2022 second-round pick with a condition. This becomes a first-round pick if Minnesota ends up making the Western Conference Finals and Marc-Andre Fleury wins at least 4 games in the first 3 rounds. If that happens, which is what Chicago's probably banking on because they really wanted a straight first-round pick, they're really hoping that the Wild make it to the Western Conference Finals, which I think they can. I have confidence with this game, especially because of just what happened. But I'll keep continuing because there was more that got added onto this as well. And, oh my God, that was the big news of the day. But with that move, meaning that, now we have 3 goaltenders, one of them's got to go. We're not getting rid of Talbot. So Kaapo Kähkönen had to be traded. And Minnesota ended up finding a suitor for him in the Sharks. So the trade was Minnesota gets defenseman Jacob Middleton, which is a big bruising defenseman that the Sharks have. In exchange, San Jose would get Kaapo Kähkönen and a 2022 5th-round pick. Now, for me, I would have liked to have that 5th come back our way. I really don't think we need to kind of throw that in there, but San Jose really wanted to hold on to Middleton. So I guess I'm fine with that. I'll roll with that. It's a 5th-round pick, and we, at one point in the day, had 3 second-rounders, so I think we're fine. And it sucks for Kähkönen, who was thought of originally to be the Wild's goaltender of the future. But he will definitely get some good playing time in San Jose. I'm not sure if they still have James Reimer. I honestly don't know, but he will get a good shot to play in San Jose. And one last trade that was tacked on kind of after everything else had, finished off. Minnesota gets future considerations. Great player. Trust me, I've met him before. While Seattle ends up getting Victor Rask with 50% of the salary retained by Minnesota. Rask is gone. And Rask always gets an unfair rap because he was the 1-for-1 that Minnesota got in exchange for Nino Niederreiter, who I'll never understand that trade that Paul Fenton made at all. But he's gone. 50% salary is retained by us, which sucks, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem. What will be a problem is the buyout penalties that will happen to us next year. So that's probably why Billy G went all in this year, saying, all right, we are building up. We're making a ton of moves. We are making sure that we are going to get past the first round, past the second round, and ultimately to a Stanley Cup. It's good that he's thinking like this because today's game against Vegas definitely showcased it. Now, I will say, Vegas was definitely shorthanded in this game. They didn't have Pacioretty or Stone in the lineup at all. And they also had Logan Thompson in net, not Laurent Brossoit, obviously not Robin Lehner. So it was kind of a lackluster Golden Knights team who is desperately fighting for their playoff lives. They are not in a comfortable spot in the Pacific. They are a wild card team right now with Nashville. And they really need to start picking it up. Luckily, we won't have to face them anymore, I don't think, because Vegas won the first 2 games this year. We finally win this one in our building. So it feels good. It feels good to pick up that win. And I was just writing a ton of notes because I did not expect Fleury to become a member of the Minnesota Wild. And I love Marc-Andre Fleury because he is one of the most respectable guys in the whole league. He's funny. He's a great goaltender, obviously. He won the Vezina last year. He still won the Vezina last year. It's not like he's completely dropped off the face of the earth. It's just because he's playing behind Chicago's defense, which any goalie would struggle with. I bet if you put Vasilevsky behind Chicago's defense, he'd probably be just as bad as Marc-Andre Fleury. Maybe worse. Who knows? But oh my God. I still can't get over that. I can't get over that. And it wasn't even some of the main moves we had today. Sure, Fleury showed up to this game, which he got a massive roar from the crowd. He was the second to last guy off the ice. He got a huge ovation from the crowd. He still had the Chicago helmet with the feathers on there and stuff. He still had his Chicago pads. But, I mean, he just got here. He just flew in today. And it was nice enough for Dmitry Kulikov, who was playing with the number 29. He said, all right, I'm going to go back to number 7. You can have 29 because Fleury deserves it. He is a 3-time Cup champion. I'm willing to say that. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I'm willing to put that in there. Hall of Fame goaltender. We'll see if that plays out to be truthful. I think it will be. But we still get a 3-time Stanley Cup champion on our roster as a goalie tandem. And of course, the thought with this game was, they're getting Fleury. What does Talbot think? Like that's his starting spot. I mean, you really don't want to mess with success, and that's what Billy G was kind of worried about in an interview that he had in the I believe the second period. Oh yeah. So it was after the first period. Basically, he came on the broadcast talking with LaPlante, basically saying, made a ton of moves. He knew Marc-Andre Fleury from his time in 2009. That's where that connection's from. He also said the quote, "No one is coming to save the day," which is good because there is no savior on this team. I mean, Fleury's definitely helps, but with the game that Talbot played today, it's like adding more fuel to this team that is already starting to look like a wagon in the West. It is looking incredible for Minnesota. He also talked about Jacob Middleton coming over, who was the one guy that we're still waiting on seeing. And he also finally said, I can sleep easier tonight because trade deadline is over. So he had a good time there. But he also mentioned, I didn't write this down, but he also mentioned that team chemistry was something he really wanted to make sure he didn't screw up with. So he basically told the guys, hey, these are your new guys. They're here to help you out. And I'm really hoping the chemistry sticks together. And it looks like it has. It definitely looks like it has, especially for the start of this game. Because the guy we didn't get on trade deadline day, but the guy we got in the game after Chicago. Remember we made the trade after Chicago for Nick Delaurier, and I had no idea who he was? I should figure out who the hell he is. And I think I've got a good idea now. Because he had an incredible debut for Minnesota. I'm talking almost legendary. At least I feel that way because it's the Wild. They haven't had many great debuts, but this one was nuts. Literally, the first goal of the game goes to Nick Delaurier, his 6th of the season at 14-17 with assists from Duhaime, his 10th of the season, and Tyson Jost getting his first point in the Wild jersey, his 9th assist of the season. Basically, there was a big check by Delaurier who threw the body around ridiculously, and that spread to the rest of the team. Makes a big check along the boards. Dumba eventually gets in later on another check. But for this goal, Tyson Jost is down in the corner, basically strumming it out. He throws it to Duhaime, who's behind the net. Delaurier sneaks into the slot. Duhaime, Delaurier, shot, 5-hole. It's in. The building goes nuts. And Delaurier goes nuts too because that's his 6th goal of the season. So he fit in so well. And he was nodding his head on the bench. He was having a good time. Like, he fits this this city so well. I can't get over that because he also had a connection to somebody else on this team. Him and Marcus Foligno used to play in Buffalo together. So that was the connection he had. And Foligno said it when the game was over. He basically said, yeah, Delaurier is a great guy. He's that energy guy. He's the guy that brings everybody's spirits up. And that spread throughout the rest of the game. Everybody seemed like they were having a better time. Everybody seemed like it looked like a wagon. This team looks like a wagon now with the moves that Billy G made. And I'm bouncing all over the place, but this just know at the end of this video, if I haven't said it enough, this team looks playoff ready. And I know it's only one game with this new squad, and it's against a banged up Vegas team, but Vegas is fighting for their playoff lives. That's what I gotta say. They're still not even in a playoff spot. They're falling behind in the Pacific, which, funny enough, I managed to get this. A board that I don't even remember ordering about a few days ago. But NHL standings board. Vegas right here. That's fourth behind Edmonton somehow, who snuck in there. And then obviously you got the Kings and the Flames, who's a wagon over there. You got the Avs, and then you got us. If you can see that right there. Boom. Right above St. Louis. Because they were ahead earlier today, but St. Louis didn't play today. We did. And now we jump them. Nashville also has a chance to jump St. Louis if they win against the Ducks. But I'll try and make sure this is up to date. And once I get a whiteboard, this is going to be so much better to do stuff with. I'll keep that over here for now because my room is a mess. Anyway, continuing on with the rest of this game. So Delaurier, he scores. The crowd is hyped up. They are losing their minds. And that was a great first period because it was total domination by Minnesota. Shots were 15-6 in favor of the Wild at the end of the first. And literally, that's what it was, total domination. Vegas did not have any offensive zone time, and they were throwing bad passes everywhere. It just looked brutal. And for Thompson, Vegas' goaltender in this game, he gave up so many rebounds. I mean, literally, I know Talbot was kind of bad with rebounds and Kakinen was too. Nobody was as bad as Thompson was today in the first period. Oh my God. It's a miracle it's only 1-0 because some of these were so close. Vegas defenders basically flailing for their lives and magically getting the puck out of there. Like, it's not me putting a number against Vegas' defense, which had two guys playing their first NHL games today, or at least one of them was. He got exposed multiple times, and he was just kind of tossed in the fire, hoping, here, sink or swim, go ahead, give it a shot. But after that first period, Vegas kind of realized, oh wait, we are not in a playoff spot. We need to get in one. And they start to come back. They start to get a lot more offensive zone time. And then, all of a sudden, Wild fans, and me, myself, I'm thinking, okay, how is Talbot going to take this? Is he going to save the day? Which I know they didn't say nobody's coming to save the day, but Talbot was already here, so it doesn't count. But Talbot did save the day. He gets his second shutout of this season and played a game where basically everything went his way, almost. It's not like this game was easy for him. There were multiple close chances, especially in the second. There was a moment, if I can find it right down here, maybe on the backside. There was a moment where John Merrill and Dmitry Kulikov had 3+ minute shifts in the second period just because the Wild weren't able to get the puck out. The forwards were able to change, but the puck wasn't as far enough in the zone for both Kulikov and Merrill to change. They were stuck, gassed down in their own zone, and Talbot had to make some huge saves, which he kept doing. He looked like the all-star Talbot that we had expected in like the first moments of the game, or first parts of the season. He looked that good. And it's a perfect time because it's not a goalie competition. They're treating it as a goaltender tandem. But it was sort of a wake-up call to Talbot, being like, hey, we're bringing in the Vezina trophy winner from last year. You think he could, help us out, show him how it's done? And he did. 3-0 win against Fleury's former employer, who never should have gotten rid of him in the first place. I was literally talking with a Vegas fan, and she said, "Oh my goodness, why is this team falling apart?" And I kept telling her, it's Pete DeBoer. That is the reason people hate Vegas and why they will never win a Stanley Cup. It is Pete DeBoer. As soon as he's fired, Vegas can have another shot. But there was no reason for him to be fired. It replaced Gerard Gallant, who is now on the Rangers and doing the same great stuff he did in the early years of Vegas. Okay? Vegas under Gerard Gallant was a team that people they liked because it was a fun franchise to watch in the beginning grow and just nearly shock everybody except for the Capitals. By the way, we were doing pretty good against them in their first year. Doesn't matter now. But again, Vegas will be better without DeBoer behind the bench. As soon as they get rid of DeBoer, they'll be fine. But anyways, and especially showed in this game because he tried to get matchups specifically, and specifically the Marchessault, Carlson. Not sure who else was on that line, but I know those two. He wanted to get them away from the grief line that Evason kept throwing out. Had trouble doing that, and then the one times he finally does get them away from that line, they can't manage anything. And so he tried to go with Stevenson and Waz line. They tried to get some stuff going. They were close, but again, Talbot shut the door. Talbot was rolling in this game. And there were some moments where he nearly blew it in a way. Very close save at the end of the game, specifically when Vegas had pulled the goalie. They're starting to get more offensive opportunities. He makes some big saves. There was one save early in the game, like at 6 minutes in the first period, where a shot comes from the point, deflects off of Marchessault's stick. It's bouncing. Talbot is still standing up. Puck goes right by his leg, hits the outside of the crease, and then Talbot just kind of falls down. It's like, oh dear, no. But luckily, puck gets out. It's away from everybody, and they can breathe. And the game just kind of continued like that. The third period became much better for Minnesota. Not first period domination, but enough to the point where Vegas wasn't able to get any good chances. The Wild were able to control most of the game. Then there's another goal that ended up happening from Matt Dumba. Basically, this puck had squirmed free to him at the point, and a great screen in front by Marcus Foligno, kind of jumping, and he hits Thompson after the puck goes in, so Vegas was kind of viewing it. Okay, is there goaltender interference? No. So there was none there. It's a clean goal. Dumba gets his 5th of the season at 14-14. They don't give an assist to anybody on there. LaPanta thought it should have been to Eriksson Eke Foligno, which I'd be fine with. Give them some more points. Why not? But yeah, Minnesota just continued to roll, and the penalty kill was incredible this game. And they talked about it multiple times on the broadcast, saying how Minnesota is a lot more aggressive on the penalty kill. They're going after guys at the point. They're actually, attacking in a way. They're attacking on the penalty kill, which is causing Vegas to throw pucks into random areas or take bad shots or get them blocked. I've said it before. I said it before multiple times. Aggressive penalty kills work. They work better than kills who sit back, because at that point, you're kind of banking on, okay, is my goaltender going to make the first save and just hold it or kick it out to the corner? And it's putting all that pressure on the goalie when it doesn't need to be. Whereas if you're putting the pressure on the power play, then the power play can't really set up. That 5-on-4 advantage doesn't look as good as you think it would, because there's so much pressure coming your way. And that is why Minnesota was able to kill off both their penalties in this game. Because both calls, they were clear calls. So Minnesota obviously needs to try and get out of the box. But if you have a penalty kill that sets up like that and is aggressive and attacks and forechecks at some points, because they also did that too. If you have an aggressive penalty kill, it's You live by that motto, and you die by that motto. And I'm willing to die by an aggressive penalty kill. If they over pursue and they score, I'm honestly fine with that, because at least they were trying their asses off to get the puck out of the zone. So eventually at the end of the game, Ryan Hartman throws in the empty netter, making it 3-0. That becomes his... As soon as I can get this figured out, Jesus. Wish I got a better clipboard instead of the ones that, like, barely hold on to the papers when you try to flip them over. It doesn't really work that well because it folds over just like, if I can get that off, just like that. I can't read them like that. I'm struggling. But that final goal by Hartman, his 25th of the season, 6.1 seconds, assist by Foligno. Basically, it was a huge save by Talbot with like 56 seconds left. 56 seconds left. Talbot makes a miraculous save on a one-timer from one of the Vegas forwards down low. It was the moment where I realized, all right, he's getting the shutout. There's no way they blow this after that. That huge save, it's like an exclamation point for Talbot, and he was incredible. He gets a well-deserved shutout. Delaurier has the debut of a lifetime, and he's on the fourth line. A fourth-line guy like that, like Nick Delaurier, getting his 6th of the season, and just the reaction he had and the fan base had, it was euphoric. That's the way to describe it, euphoric. And this team looks scary. It looks like the team that was there at the beginning of the season. Sure, a lot of parts have changed around. There's a bunch of new faces. But if this team plays like that, with the weapons they have available, there is a real shot for this team to contend for a Stanley Cup. It can happen. I have a feeling it will happen. Because the confidence I got from this team in this game skyrocketed. I'm walking on air right now. It feels good. It feels good. And so with that win, the Wild's new record becomes 37-20-4 with 78 points. And like I said, now second in the West. Well, not in the West. In the Central. Second in the Central above St. Louis. And then Nashville is playing later today. They could leapfrog St. Louis and put them at the bottom. It's still a dogfight in the Central. And we still have, I believe, we have 5 more games on this homestand. We have 5 more. The next one is on Thursday, 5 p.m. my time. I'm Arizona time. So 5 p.m. my time, taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Oh, and final shots in this game. Minnesota outshooting Vegas 36-28. The first period was the biggest margin, 15-6, obviously. Vegas clawed it back. And then the third period, the Wild just kind of took over. But Cam Talbot having a great game and giving us confidence in the goalie that we didn't feel less confident in. We still haven't seen Fleury play yet. Maybe he'll play against Vancouver, which could happen. And we can see if he's still Vezina caliber. Because if he is, oh my God. How do you score? How do you score on this team if Fleury goes back to Vezina caliber like he was? Again, he won it last year. He is just stuck behind one of the worst defenses in all of hockey. That's what they get for signing Seth Jones, who is their best defenseman, but because everybody else is awful. So now he has a good team in front of him that can pick up the slack when he's not doing so hot. And now, this team becomes not quite a wagon like Colorado, but dangerous, scary, intimidating. Throw on more synonyms to match that, because this team is fun to watch. And it hasn't been that way ever since these guys came into the league. They have always been, they're like a wild card team, maybe first round exit. They're good, but they're never good enough. Okay, they're never like the worst in the league either. No. They kind of just sit around there. They just kind of do that. They're mediocre. Not this team. This team looks scary. This team looks scary, and now is the time to go for a cup, because you might as well. You might as well, before those buyout penalties hit, you might as well go for broke. So with that being said, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Click like, click subscribe. I'm still following the Wild throughout the rest of the season. And this team will slowly start to become a wagon But for now, this team is dangerous, and I can't wait to see what they do next. But anyways, peace. I'll see you later.